Hey everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings Podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Mal, Maurice, and Earl. We are recording after week 8 of the NFL season, the 2023 season, and after the NFL trade deadline. And before we get into our reactions to the trade deadline, we always, at the beginning of our podcast, review our preseason predictions for each week. We're going to start out with the Commanders here. Week 8, we all had them losing, and that was very accurate. The Giants, we all had them losing, but not in the way I think we all intended, because of course we were thinking of Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback.
I'm still disgusted, but we'll talk about it later.
We'll definitely talk about it because you're not the only one disgusted here. Philly, we all had winning, of course, because they played the Commanders and we had them losing. And Dallas, we all had wins there too. So we actually, hey, we all got our predictions right this week, guys.
Let's go.
Perfect. Finally,
but it's at the expense of me and Mal. So is it really a good news? I don't know. But Earl is going to take us away for our next segment.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the trade deadline. There is reactions to it. I really didn't have much of a reaction because my squad did absolutely nothing. But it's all good. Hey, Mal, why don't you talk about the trade that the Giants did with the Seahawks?
So, traded Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for a second-round pick next year and a fifth-round pick, which I thought was a really
pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great trade. We actually got back more for him than what we traded for him a few years ago.
Impressive.
Leonard Williams is a good defender, but I don't think he was not part of our future. I didn't see a part of him in our future in any way, shape, or form, and to get anything back for him, especially a second, was definitely something that I was looking forward to. The second pick, it's going to be late because the Seahawks are a relatively good team, but it makes up for that third-round pick that we gave up for Darren Waller. So I'm okay with it. What do you guys think?
I have a quick question. How old is the guy that you guys traded? Because when I think of, and I guess I'll introduce the term here, rebuild, which is essentially what the Giants are in now. Yep. I think of getting rid of older players. How old was this guy?
Leonard Williams is 29, so he's about to be 30.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense that he's not a part of your long-term timeline. That makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I do wish we would have done more. I'm a little upset on the second day that we didn't do more because I think there were more assets that we could have offloaded, but I just don't think the deal was right, and I understand why we did what we did. But I'll take the second and the fifth. We definitely needed it. And I think it's time that the Giants become a little more serious and let the new GM that took over last year rebuild the way that he wants to. So I'm totally okay with the trade. I think it was good. Go ahead, Maurice.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Are you okay with the quote-unquote rebuild?
Yeah. More than okay.
Yeah. Well, one more question before we go to our next person here. Was there any? I know we talked about it in the past, and it was clear that the Giants were not going to trade Saquon. But do you think that if the deal was just not a deal where you take on long-term money back, do you think there was a deal to trade Daniel Jones? If there was, would you think you guys should have taken it?
If there was a deal that was right, I think we should have taken it for Daniel Jones. I don't think there ever was even an offer. I don't think really anybody wants him.
I can't say that.
You're absolutely right, Mal.
Especially with the contract, nobody was going to take that on. If there was a reasonable one, I think my GM would have taken it, but there wasn't one, obviously. For, as we just said, I don't think anybody would have taken that on. So, and hence why we're stuck with him.
So, have you come around to my way of thinking of Daniel Jones, Mal?
I'll give you more after he plays again next week.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yep.
All righty. Hey, Maurice, why don't you talk about what the Eagles did in their trade? I know you kind of talked about it last week, but just tell us how you feel about it moving forward into the second half of the season.
Didn't they make another move since last week?
Yes, they did.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, they gave someone away.
Yeah, they traded a defensive lineman for a pick, right?
Yeah, they traded defensive lineman Katavius Street and a seventh round pick in 2025 to the Atlanta Falcons for a 2024 sixth round pick. So they
Oh
got a
yeah, I did hear about that. The Falcons was
yeah.
looking for someone to replace Grady Jarrett, who had
Yep.
season-ending injury.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
That's
So
a
it's a
shame.
depth piece for them. I like it. I like Katavius Street on the Eagles. He was a nice rotation piece for us. So hopefully he goes to Atlanta and makes some sort of impact for them and their defense, which is not bad at all. And the Kevin Byard trade from last week, news came.
100% A plus. Just saying, Maurice.
Yeah, I think the Eagles and maybe the 49ers. Lucas is going to talk about them in a minute.
Don't get me started.
Had the best two trades
And
at the trade deadline. I'm gonna let you go. Just give me 1 minute, Lucas. I think they both had because they're contending teams who just got better with an all well, Byers and all pro. Chase Young isn't, but he's still a good, talented player, young player. Don't get me wrong. So, news came out that Howie Roseman restructured Byers' contract. He has 2 years left. Just saved the Eagles some money, $700,000, something like that. Um, I don't know why, but Howie Roseman loves to shave money whenever he can by restructuring contracts.
Maurice, let me ask you: do you like going? There seems like outside. I mean, you got the Kevin Byard trade, but it looks like for the most part, Howie Roseman is going younger, trying to get younger on the defensive end. Any rhyme or reason to that, in your opinion?
Oh, you mean the line? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because our our best two players at that position were for years Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, and both of them are in their last seasons. So yeah, I mean, we've seen the youth movement with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and uh, Josh Sweat, and I think we're going to see more going into next year's draft. But yeah, I mean, you have to replenish if that's your focal point on both sides of the line. You have to replenish that with talent eventually, right?
Yeah.
And you're not wrong with that, but I also believe that they did that to combat the Niners' run game. So they
So,
feel that the Niners
Well, I
are a
actually think it's
threat.
the other way around, Earl. But yeah, you're correct.
Earl, I know your team didn't make a trade, but I'm going to ask for you because you can't really ask yourself this question. Is there a trade out there that you wish that your team would have made?
Is that everyone?
Yeah, the Cowboys are third.
That's a
I
good question,
think
Lucas. I like that.
Yeah.
I think there was one that I thought would be a depth move in which I was looking into Chicago Bears corner Jalen Johnson. He caught my eye with just his play style playing on the outside, in which I thought with Trayvon Diggs being out with the torn ACL for the season and they moving Deron Bland to the outside, I would use Jalen Johnson as a plan moving forward because I think Stephon Gilmore, I'm not sure how many years he has left to play, in which I would go and add in more depth at the secondary position by adding him, even though that Stephen Jones, I kind of get frustrated with him about it, where he wants to win the budget bowl. He wants to get the budget ring instead of looking for working towards a Super Bowl ring.
So,
And
Earl, I'm going to interrupt real quick because breaking news, not really in the football world, but in the sports world in general. Legendary coach Bob Knight passed away
Oh
just now
no.
mm,
at 83 years old.
Mm.
That's sad news.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in
Yes.
peace. Sorry, Earl, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I felt like that was definitely something worth interrupting to mention.
no, you're fine. Rest in peace, Bob Knight. He's a legend. Going back to my point with Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, it feels like that they're looking to try to win the budget bowl instead of trying to get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And I thought with Jalen Johnson being added to that team, you could have him be on the outside with Bland, sharing reps with Gilmore, adding youth, and I was just kind of looking for more depth in building into this season, going into the following season.
Yeah, Earl, can I
But
ask a question real quick?
yes,
Jerry made a comment that he wasn't going to do anything at the trade deadline unless someone reached out to him. Why
and that
is
is the and that is the
why do you
problem.
think that's a thing?
Because he's
Like
arrogant.
why?
Sorry.
True. No, it's okay. I agree. But like why do you deep
I can't
down
get a
think?
word in. God dang. Okay.
I just don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
To
let
get
me
your
explain
team
it.
better. I'm letting you. Go
Okay.
ahead.
The situation with Jerry Jones is that he's complacent. Stephen Jones is a cheapskate. The situation with that is they don't like spending money nowadays, but they want to continue to keep a brand. That
Right.
brand is what's hurting the team. Instead
Right.
of looking for Super Bowl rings, they're looking for budget and brand plans. And the
Mm,
situation is, yeah, Jerry Jones got 3 Super Bowl rings, but he doesn't want to add to the team because he's that I like our guys type thing instead of looking for talent that can upgrade. Don't get me wrong, they built a solid team, but under that, Jerry Jones isn't a football guy. Stephen Jones is not a football guy. And they're trying to make these big plans for Dallas to think they're football guys. They are not. Will
right. So in
McClay is
conclusion,
technically
you're a little screwed until they sell the team.
Or,
not.
Jerry,
Well, Steven's taking over for him, so
Yeah, but okay. Let's just can we pump I'm gonna come to the Cowboys defense here for a second. You're absolutely right. They are not football guys. That being said, they're usually a playoff team.
Mhm.
Granted, they don't get far. And they've done a heck of a good job drafting and signing free agents, drafting
I
players and signing
agree.
free agents.
I
So
agree.
even though they're not quote unquote football guys, they're not
They
like
know.
completely inept,
Yeah.
like say Mark Davis. Just gonna throw
Yeah.
that out there.
Ayo.
Hey,
They just need a
Well,
legitimate general manager
yeah.
that
I
And
has the
agree.
somebody
freedom
that
to make.
has
Yeah,
final say over those two. I think they should definitely have input, but I think that they need to have a football guy, like you said, to actually have final say.
Lucas, they have it in their office. They have him handcuffed. Will
Well, that's what
McClay.
I'm saying. They need to let him have final say then,
Then
Earl.
let the handcuffs off.
I've
Working
been trying to
now.
tell y'all this. Look, I've been trying to tell y'all this for weeks. Is that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, their ego is what's hurting the team. They're literally handcuffing the coaches, not letting them coach to their full potential. They're not bringing in the people that will help the team. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate what Jerry Jones has done. He brought 3 championships into Dallas, but at the same time, you gotta go beyond that. Don't be complacent with just 3 championships. You should look to have more rings on your finger.
Mhm.
And I've seen too many teams that Dallas have had. Lucas, you're right. They can contend and they can make the playoffs, but I need to see more because I know the talent that Dallas have, but they're really not letting the coaches coach. And that's what's hurting the team having that untapped potential. Seems like every season there's untapped potential in the team. I just need Dallas to make moves in which allowing I really want Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones to just step out of the way and let Will McClay do his thing. It seems like they try to make deals, but it's under a budget instead of going out there getting the key guys that can help assist with paying more money. They're just holding too much of their money and making excuses on not being able to bring a top player in that can help your team get them over the top. And I've seen it over and over again in which I've seen too many teams that Dallas have had that could run with some of the big teams, but they really can't because there's so much being handicapped from what the front office has done. And with the trade, I at least thought they would at least try to add to the team, but they're just being complacent as usual. So I'm not surprised with it, but I am frustrated with the situation that we didn't make any trade moves. Go ahead, Lucas.
I'm glad that I finally get to talk here because
Let's
look,
talk about Montez and Chase Young.
let's talk about it. And now I'm having that Salt and Pepper song stuck in my head because as soon as you said, let's talk about it, it made me go to that song. If you know that song, you know. If you don't know, you're too young. Anyway.
Oh, goodness.
That being said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Because now I've talked to Earl a little bit about this. I've had some more time to marinate in this a little bit. So let's walk this through. Ownership is still involved in front office decisions, as most teams it usually is on some level. And, you know, we talked about Josh Harris before. He is the owner, not only of the Commanders, but of the New Jersey Devils, and more famously, the Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers, as Maurice would certainly remember, and I'm sure Earl remembers too, were a team stuck in mediocrity for years, since 2001. Right? So what did they do, Maurice? Once Josh Harris took over the team 2 years in, what did they do? Tell me.
The process.
The process. And for football fans that don't follow basketball, let me explain to you what the process was. The process was about a 3-year experiment where the team bottomed out. Not just was bad for one season, but for 3 seasons. Actually holds the record for the worst regular season record from the 2015-16 season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maurice, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. So,
yeah,
they bottomed out. The thing is, they didn't just do a rebuild. They gutted it. They had a young guard, Drew Holiday. He's still in the NBA today, but he was 22 at the time. They traded him. And that is exactly what's happening here. Josh Harris is yet to get involved because trading older players makes sense to me. I get that. And I get that we had to trade one of our young players because we couldn't afford it, right? But we could have traded and gotten assets for maybe Brissett, who was on an expiring deal, backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett, and maybe it might have been harder to trade guys like Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, who are older on bigger deals, but it would have made more sense to trade them. Instead, you trade your 2 youngest offensive linemen, arguably your second and your third best offensive lineman. I mean, defensive lineman. I'm getting ahead of myself here. For draft picks. Now, I told myself, okay, you're probably going to trade up one of them because you probably don't want to pay both. That I understand. And I suspected it was going to be Montrez Sweat. And that's exactly what happened. And you know what? I like the deal. I did. Because you send him to a team that we all know is going to be horrendous in the Chicago Bears. They got him for a 2nd-round pick. That 2nd-round pick is essentially going to have the same value as a late 1st-round pick, right?
Correct.
So that was a good trade, especially because we got Sweat. I think, if I remember correctly, it was either in the low teens or in the teens or early 20s, right? Can't exactly remember, but that's a good value for him. I get that. But then you trade Chase Young. And I get it. He's been injured last 2 seasons. But let's remember this guy was defensive rookie of the year. He also, this season, if I remember correctly, has already had somewhere between 3 to 5 sacks and a lot of pressures and a lot of tackles. So you're going to give up on this guy who's still on a rookie deal. And by the way, you didn't even exercise his 5th-year option, which I think was such a bad move. And I get it at the time. It was, you're trying to get him to prove that he can be healthy. Fine, whatever. You trade him. And you know what? If you would have gotten fair value for him, I would have understood. But you only got a 3rd-round pick. Not even a 3rd-round pick, guys. It was a what's the word I'm looking for?
Compensatory.
Yeah, pick from the 49ers got when they lost D'Amico Ryans and another assistant coach. So it's not even going to be like the beginning of the 3rd. It's like the end of the 3rd round. And then on top of all that, we sent them to the 49ers, who we play later this season. And then on top of all that, we've made a NFC rival even better.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
Thank you, Luke.
I'm mad about that. I am.
As you should
Thank you.
be.
Because like in the beginning of the process, there were some bad moves. And I think part of this is, and Josh Harris, let me be clear, Josh Harrison himself, I don't believe is a terrible owner. Is he a great owner? No. But is he an upgrade over Snyder? Absolutely. That being said, he does have some flaws. And I will say this, he sometimes listens to the guidance of his employees a little bit too much, because if you're going to clean house, and I've written an article about this on NFL Spin Zone if you guys want to read it, a shameless plug there. But if you're going to clean house, why would you listen to the people that you're probably going to end up firing about trade moves you want to make this season? That is the problem that I have. Because if you're going to rebuild, you want to keep the young guys. You want to keep the young guys. Trading Jonathan Allen, trading Daron Payne, trading Jacoby Brissett would have all made sense to me. Kendall Fuller, last year of his deal, would have made sense to me. But you didn't.
So, Lucas, let me put my 2 cents in here.
Okay.
I think the Montez Sweat trade was incredible.
I think so too. I like that trade.
I think you guys got a haul for Montez Sweat.
Bears are stupid. Yes, we know.
Very. But that's, it's okay. We take advantage of dumb franchises. It's all right.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. The Chase Young trade, I don't necessarily hate, but only for the fact that, yes, Chase Young is very young. I hate
He's
the
only
fact
24.
that he went. Yeah, I hate the fact that he went to the 49ers. I think that's dumb.
Me too.
If it were any other team, I don't think it would be as big of a problem.
Maybe not, but I still don't like the compensation we got back for him. A compensatory third-round pick. Come on now.
I agree.
I can explain the reason of that.
Oh, I know the reason. It's the injury history. I get that.
I agree. I think that's dumb. I think it's all dumb.
Mm-hmm.
What I do think, though, is that Harris and, new ownership, new everything. I think he wants a clean slate. I think even before the end of the season, Lucas, your whole coaching staff is going to be redone.
Oh, Mal, you're trying to get brownie points with me. Thank you.
No, I'm not. Yes, but also I'm speaking facts. Ron Rivera will be gone at the end of the season. Mark my words.
And I've already written about the fact that the only two people
Rio
that should be,
and the GM.
Yeah, I will say this: the only people that should be left over after this clean of house, this purge of this organization, should be Eric Bieniemy and Doug Williams, who's now a consultant for the front office. Those should be the only two people left.
You guys need to do a full clean house like Vegas just did. And you will. You will. If they're willing to give up Chase Young for that little, that just shows
the thing is, Harris signed off on it. And I get it. Harris was busy on Harris was busy on.
He had a lot going on.
Yeah, because Sixers made a major trade too, but still, you can't. Clearly, new owner does not understand full value of NFL players yet. I will give Harris a slide on that.
You also have to realize, Lucas, you guys have 3 picks in the top 50?
5 picks in the top 100. So that is the that is like the that's the ray of hope for me here.
That is full rebuild, and once you hire your next GM, which based off of these 2 moves, I'm thinking your owners are firing your GM.
I think so too. And if
you get a good one, I've never had a good GM besides the last year, and he's even had criticism, but we always got to give the new GM time. You will get the new GM, let him do what he has to do, build his team the right way, and you guys will compete again. I have a full feeling.
So, question for Maurice real quick. Is there anybody in your front office that you think should be ready to become GM? Just because, look, I will acknowdge where
Lucas is recruiting Billy.
Look, I don't don't. You can laugh all you want. I'm being serious. Look, Philly has had a good front office for the past 20 years, always being able to scout out good players, having good coaches. Why not? Why not? So yeah, I'm looking at Philly. I'm not looking at New England though. That's for sure.
Look at New England.
Nobody should look at New England. Look, I think there's definitely some things that need to change, and hopefully we can get the right GM for it. Because you first need to get a new GM before you get a new head coach. Well, I always believe if you're going to clean house, you get rid of the GM, get rid of the head coach, hire a new GM, then get a head coach that works well with him.
Well, hopefully for Joshua Harris's football team, you're not wasting 3 years of being the worst team in football.
I hope not. I mean, look, the Raiders are still around. The Cardinals,
the Giants are still around.
The Bears, the Bears are just a dumpster fire. Why? And the thing is that I know we're getting off topic here, but I'm just going to say this. This is the second year in a row that the Bears have wasted a second-round pick on a player that, and that was the first last year. Do you guys remember who they traded for? Chase Claypool, who they traded for a 6th-round pick to the Dolphins.
You want to know what's even scarier? The Giants gave him a second interview, that GM.
Wow.
Thank God we didn't hire him. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, we definitely have some things to say about the Giants. But first, it is time, Maurice. It is time. Second matchup, divisional matchup between the Eagles and the Commanders. And let me tell you guys, it did not disappoint. Sadly, I was on the losing end of this yet again. We are 0-2 against the Eagles this season.
And sadly, this loss pretty much
sealed it for us. Yeah.
The dumpster fire that went on Tuesday.
Yeah, I did, because, Adam Schefter reported based off the result of Sunday would impact whether or not what moves we would make. Commanders lost in an end of the game fashion, 38-31. Look, I will say this. I think compared to most teams in the NFL, we play the Eagles better than most teams.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
Sam Howell looks like Tom Brady against us.
Look, I will say this. It was fortunate for us that your defense was missing so many people. They really were. Because Carter wasn't playing. Was Jordan playing?
Who?
The really big guy on your defense line.
Oh, Jordan Davis. Yeah, he played, but he didn't play as many snaps. He had some lingering injuries throughout the game.
And your secondary, Slay went down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Slay, Maddox. Byard played some snaps, but he's still getting integrated into the defense.
So let me go. I'm going to go first, Maurice. I'm going to go with what went wrong. Mainly what went wrong are two things. Our pass defense was horrendous. Corners can't cover anybody. Despite Emmanuel Forbes couldn't keep up. St. Juice, those guys, by the way, we used solid, high draft picks on those two guys. Couldn't handle, right? And then the other thing that went wrong, well, actually, no, there's two more things. I lied. First thing is, Terry McLaurin forgot how to catch the ball in the second half of the game.
Yeah.
There were a couple of drop passes that would have sustained drives, including the pick. Now, you could say Sam Howell threw it into triple coverage, wasn't a good play. That is absolutely true. But if you watch the play in slow motion, you saw that the ball literally went right through his hands. It was a catchable ball. It was a catchable ball. And Earl, we can agree to disagree on that. And like I said, was it the best read by was it the right read by Howell? No. But did he put it in a place to where McLaurin could have caught it? The answer is yes.
I could tell you exactly what the problem was in that game.
So and then the third thing, and Earl, I know where you're going with it, and that was going to be my third point. There was way too many passes. Guys, look, for the game, let me just pull up some stats here for you guys real quick. So we had, on the game, we threw the ball 52 times. 52 times. There is no play in the world that Sam Howell should be throwing the ball 52 times. Now, to his credit, he did great doing it. Only one interception, one sack. Arguably best game by Sam Howell this season, right? Arguably. I don't know if that's true or not, but the argument could be made, right? But we had 52 passes. You want to know over under, guys, real quick. Did we rush more or less 20 times?
Well, I know, but
I know you can't answer. The other two have to. So, Mal, what do you think?
I think less.
Earl?
Under.
You both are correct. We ran the ball as a team 16 times. Brian Robinson only had 10 carries for 59 yards. 59 yards on 10 carries? I don't care who you are. That's pretty darn good. So we didn't run the ball enough. Not a balanced game plan by Bieniemy. Not his best game. He's had a couple rough games recently, but, he's had some good ones too. That being said, he did make Sam Howell look fantastic when he was passing the ball. He had a 70 QBR. And to be honest, the Eagles did not rush the ball that many more times than we did. That being said, we can't. I get that we were in a shootout, but you still got to run the ball more than that. But yeah, those were the things that went wrong. Now the things that went right for us. Our run defense. Our run defense was fantastic. Held the Eagles to 59 yards. We got 2 sacks, but they weren't really that impactful in terms of yards lost. Only 4 yards lost on 2 sacks. Sam Howell looked like him for about 95% of that game. He looked like him. And I think this
always looks like him until the next game.
No. Look. He's had one horrendous game this season, right? And I think you could argue the rest of the season, outside of the sacks, which most of them, I think we can all agree are not his fault. Most of them outside of that one game, he has looked like a guy that you could build around. So I feel really good about that. Feel good about our wide receivers overall, despite McLaurin dropping a few passes. Jahan Dotson finally showed up, which was fantastic. And yeah, that's what went right. But there was plenty of that went wrong too. So Maurice, you can take it away now.
Wait a minute, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So, if the Commanders upgrade their offensive line, are you okay with Sam Howell going forward?
Absolutely. Because he's playing this way with a horrendous arguably one of the worst, if not the worst offensive. Actually, no, we're not the worst. Sorry, Mal. That's not us. But
what? It's
pretty close.
Better though.
It's not like a big gap, but we are slightly better.
It's not.
Better.
Okay, goodbye.
Equal.
That being said, look, he's still playing this good. I think that's the difference between like Daniel Jones and Sam Howell. Sam Howell can still play.
Whoa.
You've said it before, Mal.
Whoa.
You've said it before.
All right, listen. Oh, never mind. Fall down a rabbit hole.
I'll let you. You know what? You can talk about it when your team comes up. But my point being here is that Sam Howell can still play good with a bad offensive line, and I can't imagine how good he would play with a good one.
Okay. All right. Now let me give my perspective on the game. Because this game, the final score is 38-31. The score should have been 52-31. Lucas knows why. We fumbled the ball 2 times in the goal line.
Agreed.
Yeah, you guys did.
Philly should have blown y'all out.
Now, this is the one rarity right here, because Jalen Hurts fumbled it on the brotherly shove, tush push, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which was crazy to see because we're usually good at that.
I thought you guys had that one, to be honest. I was like, oh, great. Here we go.
Yeah, I thought it was a touchdown, but I fumbled the ball. I don't know how.
And then didn't Swift fumble the ball too?
Gainwell fumbled.
Gainwell, that's right.
Like at the 4-yard line.
Yeah.
So we should have had 2 touchdowns at least right there, or 2 field goals.
Probably. But, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, but the game should not have been this close. Now, for whatever reason, Sam Howell looks like Joe Montana, Tom Brady, all the greatest quarterbacks of all time against the Eagles secondary. Our defense, Sean Desai's defense, is just way too soft in the secondary. Now, there's some injuries there, but still way too soft. We just play too much cushion in our coverages, and we just allow too many things, intermediate passes 5 to 10 to 15 yards. It's not good, especially as we go along this season and we play better passing offenses. Jalen Hurts, 29 for 38, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, sacked twice. It was a pretty good game from Jalen Hurts. I like this game today. Still looked a little hobbled, but I think he'll get over that, especially after our bye week coming up.
I'll tell you this much, Maurice. Jalen Hurts is finally locking in.
Yeah.
It took him a little bit, but he is.
Yeah, he is. Now, what's helping him lock in is the MVP caliber play of AJ Brown right now.
Not caliber. He is currently my favorite.
I have that stat, which Maurice is going to love later on, but we'll talk about that later.
If you listen to the football media, they're actually saying Tyreek Hill is more of an MVP than AJ Brown.
I don't care. I don't care. I think it's AJ Brown. I've seen him play at my team twice. It's AJ Brown.
Tyreek Hill is a little bit of an alien, but out of that, we'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah, AJ Brown had 8 catches for 130 yards, averaged 16 yards a catch for 2 touchdowns. That was pretty much the difference maker. His dominance was the difference maker in this game. Like I said, we had turnovers, but in our defense really didn't. We only had 1 sack. Hassan Reddick, the closer of our team, got a sack when he needed it the most, and that was pretty much it.
We blew a really bad coverage against Devontae Smith, man. I was so mad about that.
Yeah, that was game breaking. And the interception he threw to Reed Blankenship was a backbreaker as well.
It wasn't a thrown interception. It was a missed catch by McLaurin. I will hold true to that.
And the throwing it in triple coverage.
He should have hit him, Jahan. I'm not denying that, but it was a catchable pass.
Game plan should have changed.
You're not arguing. You don't hear me arguing.
Yeah. So I'm not too. You're a little upset they got a little pass happy, but it was working. They were in the game, so why not go with it? But
I'm just saying, like
there's a thing called TOP.
Robinson had a 29-yard run at one point, and he was averaging almost 6 yards a carry against y'all. Just felt like we could have kept on going to it.
Okay.
TOP.
But hey, like I always say, win's a win.
All right.
We go 2-0 against the Commanders this season.
Yeah, well that's not saying much now that we made those trades.
Good luck.
Yeah. That being said, Maurice, I think we know who your player of the game is for the Eagles, and I agree with you on this. It's AJ Brown, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mine for the Commanders is Sam Howell. But if we're going for and we're just doing player of the game for our team, like if we're going for the best player of that game, it was clearly AJ Brown. But yeah. That being said, I think if I remember correctly, Earl is up next.
Yeah.
Or is it Mal? Yep, it's it's Earl. And I am so sorry I messed up in the agenda. I need to fix that. Earl, you're up.
All right. Yep. Dallas Cowboys played the Los Angeles Rams. We beat them 43-20. The game was good. Like I'm not gonna push come to shove or anything on it. They did what they needed to do, and I expected them to do it. I was waiting for the offense to open up. Mike McCarthy, he was coaching scared these last couple of weeks, and just being able to have more faith in Dak, even after he said this offense is going to be Dak's. I'm starting to see it, and happy that Dak is being able to do his thing, and it's kind of a mix of his old self into his new self. And in the game, he went 21 for 31, 304 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. CeeDee Lamb went off. He had 12 catches, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What went wrong? Injuries and football politics. The situation with Tyron Smith, he didn't play in this game in which Chuma Edoga came into the game, and he went down somewhere in the third quarter, and we had to transition to our third string left tackle, Austin Richards. I have a problem with this because Tyron Smith, it's time for him to hang up the cleats. or bench him because he can't stay healthy. I understand he's an all-pro. He's a future Hall of Famer. It's time for him to hang up the cleats. My
Mm.
situation with the front office is that they hold these players for years and not realizing that you need to upgrade. You need to go youth. You need to move on past these guys. And it's somewhat hurting the team. The football politics has been going on for years, and I don't see any of y'all teams doing this, nor the other teams in the NFL. And it just seems like Dallas right now, they they hold close to their players, and that's what's hurting them. What went right? That CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. Pretty much the targets that I needed from them on offense in the passing game, getting CeeDee Lamb involved, getting Brandon Cooks involved, and getting Jake Ferguson involved. I have a stat line in which CeeDee Lamb,
Dak
when
was
Dak,
locked in, Earl. He was locked in. Dak.
CeeDee Lamb, whenever Dak gets him the ball, the rating is at 121.8.
Mm.
He's starting to target Michael Gallup, in which Michael Gallup is not fully healthy. And it's a shame that I see Gallup getting the touches in which CeeDee Lamb has been begging for. And being able to get him involved in the game, that should be the game plan moving forward. Getting CeeDee Lamb the ball and letting him do his thing. Gallup, he's that third or fourth target in which Gallup, this past season, he's had 62% on his rate compared to CeeDee Lamb at 121.8. Now I ask y'all, who are y'all going to target more?
CeeDee Lamb.
Your
Case
best
closed.
receiver.
Case closed. And seeing that, getting CeeDee Lamb involved, that's what I'm enjoying and seeing. Also had another right in which the defense, Deron Bland, he got another pick six and another interception. Michael
Leads
Parsons
the
had,
NFL, man.
yep, with 9. Michael
Mhm.
Parsons, 2 sacks.
Second in the NFL for Deron
And-
Bland.
No, pick 6 is he leads. Second in
Oh, he
interceptions.
does? For real?
Yep.
Well, right now he has
leads the
3
NFL in
pick
interceptions.
sixes.
No. Leads them in pick 6s.
No, I know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now he
Anyway,
has
go ahead,
9
Earl.
interceptions. He has 9 interceptions, and it's only his second season.
Might be something special there. We'll have to wait and see. I don't really have too much to say for that. Dak looked confident for once this season. It's the change in scheme, which you guys did over your bye week, putting CeeDee Lamb in the X position, putting him on the weak side of the field makes more sense. I think you
Well,
guys need to
CeeDee Lamb
save.
can move around.
Yeah, I know he
move him
can, and
around.
they put him in movement, but I'm saying having him primarily as the X receiver seems to be paying off.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I'm just the front office it keeps meddling in what Mike McCarthy and this team is trying to do. I just want them to sign and pay the checks. Let the coaches coach. I need to see more from what this team can do. They can do it, but I feel like they're being handcuffed by the football politics with the front office. My player of the game, Dak Prescott, he earned it.
That's fair. And Mal, we got to talk about him. I know it's going to be painful, but you got to.
I know. All right. So let's talk about the Giants and the Jets. The stupid Jets. Ugly, ugly game in the Meadowlands this past weekend. Jets won 13-10 in overtime. What went wrong? So many things.
Pretty much everything. Is there anything that went right?
Now it sounds like you're in a struggle right now.
I mean, I thought I was
So
in a bad
upset.
place, but
This was the worst loss of the season because it was a MetLife Bowl. So the Jets are talking about how they're the kings of New York and how they do this and that, whatever. So what went wrong was that Tyrod Taylor broke his ribs literally within the first half. and we had to put in a third string quarterback who didn't even know the playbook, and that's on Dable. I can't believe he didn't even brief him on the playbook.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that. I just thought he was a really bad practice squad guy that they had.
I mean, he is, Lucas, but in the ball, I think every drive after Tommy DeVito came in, they did not trust him once to throw the ball. And yeah, we were up 10-7, which is fine. Like, Zach Wilson is terrible and their offense is terrible.
I gotta ask, how tall is DeVito?
You know what? Let me see.
Because, he shares a name with another famous man.
He's, let's see, Tommy DeVito height.
Probably
Not
like
Danny
6'2".
DeVito.
He's 6'2".
Okay, so
Really?
he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so no
I mean,
relation.
that's a guess.
No.
All right.
He did
But
not
he
look
does-
6'2" on TV.
No way.
Didn't he have negative passing yards for that game?
He also had a rushing
9.
touchdown.
-9.
negative
Mhm.
1 negative passing yard. Gosh.
And the Jets should have lost that game. This
They
is what
should've.
gets me. This is what gets me.
This was
So
a struggle bowl.
-9. It was a struggle bowl. It was disgusting. Between
Go
the
ahead,
rain.
man.
I was
Tell me
about
how
to say
you feel.
Zach Wilson threw below 50% from
Disgusting.
Yeah.
It's all disgusting. All of it was gross.
And
Go
I
ahead,
can't
Mal.
believe.
I do want to point out one thing. Tyrod Taylor's ribs seem to be questionable at this point.
No, Tyrod, I don't think he's going to be okay. He was in a lot of pain, and he was in the hospital for 2 days after.
Well, this is the second time he's punctured a lung with a rib injury.
No, and I was very concerned when I saw him go down. And the amount of pain he was in was very concerning.
I'm surprised y'all didn't trade for Josh Dobbs and the Vikings did instead.
Yeah, and because
Well, the
Daniel Jones
Vikings
is coming
needed
back.
a quarterback.
I mean, they do too. We'll talk about them later, though.
Yeah, Daniel's coming back next week.
Hey, Mal,
I don't
got
know.
this thing
Yeah.
to tell you real quick.
Go ahead.
You know how the Ghostbusters theme song goes?
Yeah.
When it's something strange in your football organization, who are you gonna call? Daniel Jones. When it's something weird and it don't look good, who are you gonna call? Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
How about-
Daniel Jones will always do anything that anybody asks of him.
He's your highest paid quarterback.
That's the thing about Danny. Danny is debatable, and he's not the best, but whenever you need him, he'll show up.
Man, it's just, look.
And
If
listen,
Tyrod was healthy, I would have said just keep Daniel Jones on the bench.
no. Listen, at this point, Tyrod couldn't do anything about the Jets defense. I don't know if Daniel could have. I don't know.
I'm just saying moving forward. I'm not talking about this game.
At this point, I will say this game I did miss Daniel Jones. And, it is what it is. What everyone's opinion is about him. Daniel Jones is more mobile and way more. Tyrod's issue, whole different thing. He got absolutely smacked.
Yeah,
But
that was a tough play.
it was a really rough injury to watch. I watched him on the sideline. I could tell he was in pain. I could tell he didn't want to go out. No matter what, Tommy DeVito was the worst thing to ever happen in that situation. Tommy don't know anything, what to do, how to maneuver this offense, because Dable didn't prepare him, as he wouldn't have. He's a practice squad, UDFA quarterback. It is
That's
what
on
it
the
is.
coach.
In the rain,
That's
too.
definitely on the coach.
Yeah. It's totally on coach. I love Dable more than anything, and I think he's one of the good coaches in the league. But this season, he has not made the best decisions.
You think maybe the well, let me just ask you one question and state another thing, and then we have to move on because we are definitely behind thanks to trade stuff. First off, the only good thing that happened to you guys was Saquon this game. Kudos to Saquon.
Correct. Saquon was him.
I will say that maybe Daboll got a little bit too enamored with all the fame that comes to doing well in New York.
Yes,
I think that probably happened a little.
bozo real quick.
Yeah.
And regardless, defense was really great. Kayvon had 3 sacks, and he's on 8.5 sacks for the year, which is double what he did last year. And my player of the game is Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence has been a staple and one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And that's all I got.
Your defense has picked up the last 3 to 4 weeks. That being said, we got to move on, guys. Look, we are almost at an hour already. We haven't even gotten to our 4-minute drill. So, 4-minute drill. Earl, take it away. Actually, no. Wait a second. Do we do Mal stats first? Yeah, we do Mal stats.
Yeah, we got to do stats.
Mal, go ahead. Finish us up with stats.
All right. So let's start with the Cowboys. Jerron Bland is second in the league for interceptions with 4. That's awesome. And he's first in the NFL with the pick sixes. So that's great.
Right on.
Yep. Commanders, Ron Rivera had 2 non-losing seasons since his Super Bowl appearance. Doesn't look like that's turning around.
One of them was a tie. Doesn't really even count.
Yep. And now, let's start with the Giants now. Kayvon had 3 sacks against Zach Wilson, bringing his total to 8.5 sacks, which is already double of his last season. And then we have the Eagles, which is the biggest stat. A.J. Brown continues to show out with 130 yards and two touchdowns versus Washington, officially breaking the record for the longest streak of consecutive games with over 125 plus receiving yards, 6 in a row against Megatron. So congratulations, Maurice. That's awesome.
Those are MVP numbers.
Yep.
Dominating numbers.
Dominating.
If you break a record.
Yeah, he did. He's breaking records.
Thank you, Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Them too.
All right. So, if we covered everybody, Mal, hold up. Did you? Yeah, we got everybody. Yep. Earl, take it away with the 4-minute drill.
Cool. All righty. I had the week. All right. Yep. The teams that I had for this week, I watched the Falcons and Titans game. The Titans won 28-23 against the Falcons, in which for the Falcons, Taylor Heineke is going to be the starter for the upcoming game.
Hey, yo.
Not surprised. The next game I watched was the Bears and Chargers, and stat nerd Kellen Moore created a nice game plan for Josh Herbert and Justin Herbert, and basically whooped the Bears 30-13. The next game I watched was the Monday night game, the Raiders against the Lions. The Lions defeated the Raiders 26-14, and the Raiders cleaned house.
Yes, they did. All right, so the next 3 games I had Jacksonville versus Pittsburgh, and I love to see Pittsburgh lose, and that's exactly what happened here. Jacksonville beat them 20-10. Kenny Pickett went out for a little bit, and with an injury, Mitch Trubisky had to take over, and it wasn't pretty since then. The next game was the Saints and the Colts. The Saints beat the Colts 38-27, and it was mainly the role players for the Saints that really shined here. I mean, like Derek Carr had 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Taysom Hill literally had, 2 pass attempts, 9 rushes, and at least had 1 catch. Taysom Hill was everywhere. Alvin Kamara was also impactful, and so was Rashid Shaheed. So, kudos to them. Last game was Browns versus Seahawks. Seahawks won that 24-20. Yet again, the Browns were without Deshaun Watson. It showed. I think PJ Walker got injured, so they got to get their rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson to play, throw at least one pass. Outside of that, Geno did Geno things, and Seahawks won.
All right. Now, I think I have the 3 most interesting games of the week.
I think you do too.
The Vikings.
For sure.
The Vikings defeated the Packers 24-10. Kirk Cousins passed for 274 yards and 2 touchdowns, but unfortunately, he tore his Achilles.
Yes, he did.
Soon, Kirk.
Yeah, that's tough for a contending team like the Vikings.
Were they really contending though?
Playoff contending,
maybe.
Yeah, and then after that, the day after, they traded for Josh Dobbs to replace Kirk Cousins for the rest of the season.
Just want to point out real quick that Packers GM is not showing 100% faith in their young
Jordan
player.
Love?
Yeah, Jordan Love now.
I think he's talented. I mean, you gotta build a team around him.
I think you got to build his confidence.
That too.
Mhm.
Unless they sniffing Caleb Williams.
Nah, I don't think maybe.
Nah, leave Caleb Williams to me. But anyway, moving on.
So you're ready to dump Daniel Jones?
See.
I'm ready to dump everybody.
Oh, okay.
Go for the trap.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
I'm
that's
for the tank.
Duly noted.
embrace
All
the
right.
process.
Embrace the tank.
True.
Go ahead, Earl.
Process anyway.
Broncos country, let's ride. They beat the Chiefs.
That was
That was
surprising.
upset. Yeah, that was
Yes.
surprising. And then Russell
Yeah, that was
Wilson
a trap
didn't have.
game.
It was a trap game. Russell
Yeah.
Wilson didn't
Holmes
have
wasn't.
statistically the greatest game, but passing wise, but he had 3 touchdowns. I think he only had like 111 yards, which is crazy. Judy Sutton and Javonte Williams all with touchdowns. This was a defensive battle. The Broncos defense had 3 sacks and 2 picks.
That's surprising considering how bad they've been early on.
Yeah,
I don't think Taylor Swift was at the game.
Nope, she was not.
No, she wasn't. She didn't make the trip to Denver. And also, the Broncos snapped a 16-game losing streak to the Chiefs. How do you lose to a team 16 straight times?
Not
Patrick Mahomes.
anymore.
No, yeah, well, now you're not. And look, I mean, we've seen longer
Yeah,
streaks
he's a
in
boogeyman.
other sports. For example, the Sacramento Kings not making the playoffs.
Well,
Giants versus the Commanders. But anyway, moving on.
Hey.
all right, settle down. And quickly, the Bengals kind of sort of dominated the 49ers, 31-17. I think I made a statement here like 3 episodes ago, that after the Niners beat the Cowboys, I said the Niners were the best team in football. They haven't won a game since.
Yeah, they Brock Purdy has shown his mortality, and they've been hit with the injury bug.
Yeah, Joe Cool.
But hey, you know what they got? They got Chase Young. Maybe that will help.
Don't worry, Lucas. You'll see him.
I don't want to see him this year.
Oh, you guys do play the 49ers.
I don't wanna.
Oh, that's the revenge game for Chase Young.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sam might need them. I might need them to start Brissett instead.
So just to protect Sam Howell.
Lucas.
Yep. Yes. Yes, very much so.
I think Chase Young is going to get 4 sacks on Howell when he plays against him.
Man, I don't want to hear that. Anyway, keep on going.
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Joe.
Anyway.
Let me finish.
Go ahead, Maurice.
Yeah, Joe Burrow had 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 10 catches for 100 yards. Easy Map says that's 10 yards a catch and 1 touchdown. Go ahead, Mel.
All right, so I had the divisional matchup of the Patriots versus the Dolphins, and the Dolphins won 31-17. Tua went for 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Tyreek Hill is a beast. That's all I have to say. Then I had the Texans and the Panthers. The Panthers got their first win of the season, 15-13. Let's go. Bryce Young got 235 yards, 1 touchdown. Then I had the Ravens and the Cardinals. The Ravens win 31. I almost said 300. 31-24. 31-24, and they are on. Absolutely. They won 31-24, top of the AFC North. Gus Edwards, 80 yards for 3 touchdowns. Backup running back, awesome performance. That's all I got.
Well, he's a starter now, but yeah, he's supposed to be back up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so now that we got through that, which was definitely longer than 4 minutes, but I'll let it slide. Maurice, take it away with fantasy.
All right, fantasy week 8 of our fantasy league. We now have a 4-way tie up top the leaderboard. 4 teams are 5-3. So with that said, I beat Joe 154 to 149. I had Joe Burrow, gave me 52 points. Caffrey, 27. ETN gave me 25. Devontae gave me 18 on that busted coverage play. Sorry, Lucas. And I had the Eagles defense. It gave me -1, which is
Yeah,
kind of weird.
y'all did not perform.
Yeah, you just gotta get healthy. Just gotta get healthy.
Yeah,
That's
hang on.
all
You
it-
guys got -1 with an interception and a sack.
Yeah.
Dang. Mm.
Howell was roasting us.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
That's why I feel good about him.
The only misfortune for me was DeAndre Hopkins. By the way, Will Levis looked pretty good with the Titans.
Yeah, he might be
Yeah,
the
he did
guy.
look good.
I thought, before the game, I heard that they were going to play both of them, but they clearly just liked what Levis was giving, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been picked up
He's
around
going to
every
be
league.
starting next week too, by the way.
Yeah, everyone's picking him up in fantasy.
I'm not.
I think someone in our league picked him up. I don't know
Oh,
who.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins had 39 points on my bench, which I could have used, but I still won. So
To be fair, that wasn't like a you thing. That was nobody expected him to play well.
yeah. Lucas, you won your league, right? You won your
Yes, I beat
league, right?
Wesley 166 to 127. Yeah, no, he his tight end Knox is on IR, and for some reason he didn't bench him. So, but even without that, look, I messed up because I started Jared Goff over Sam Howell, and clearly I think I'm just gonna, even though like Jared Goff is clearly the better quarterback, Sam Howell just does things for fantasy football that just I gotta start him.
You could have had
Yeah, he's
200
a
points this
fantasy
week.
quarterback.
I could have had 200 points this week because Sam Howell had 61 to Jared Goff's 27. Absolutely. But besides that, I mean, Isaiah Pachenko didn't show up, and I could have probably started like, let's see here, Austin Eckler instead. But Eckler hadn't been showing anything since returning to that from injury until that game. So, yeah, I'm not even mad about that one.
Yeah, and Earl, you took an L this week, man.
Yeah,
that was
I
a
did.
big L.
Yeah, you win them, you lose them.
How's Joe treated? Has Joe gave you any smack talk from that, Earl?
Not really.
That's good.
I don't pay too much of the smack talk. Patrick Mahomes, I didn't realize he was playing like a flu, like he had the flu or something, and he only gave me under 10 points, 8.6.
Dang.
Kenny Walker gave me 7 points. I tested out a Titans running back. He gave me 3 points. Stephon Diggs gave me 7 points.
The Spears guy, the Spears kid from Tennessee, is that who you're talking about?
Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
Yep. And Tank Dell gave me 5 points. CeeDee Lamb was my best player. He gave me 35. Jake Ferguson was my second. Gave me 13. De'Armond Smith gave me 1.3. Ayuk gave me 10. The Dallas defense gave me 11. I dropped the ball because I didn't go with my instincts like last week. I could have started Brandon Cooks. I could have started PJ Strong, Pierce Strong Jr., running back for Cleveland, because they're doing a dual running back game. And then I had Kevontae Turpin, return game. I got to remember that. But overall, hey, you win them, you lose them. I really don't have much else to say. But I can say, Maurice, I'm proud of you. You got Travis Etienne's name right.
There you go.
There we go.
Small
Finally,
victories.
after 4 weeks, I got his name
Small
right.
victories.
It's the small ones that count, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Love it.
Won't undersell it.
And we're going to end this off with the battle of the week because it was a household battle now.
The battle of lovers.
Yeah. Kyle didn't do well. Yeah, Kyle didn't do well. I didn't do too well either, but it was enough. AJ Brown gave me 31. He's my GOAT. Tyreek Hill gave me 20.
That's crazy.
And
You have
Breece
AJ
Hall.
Brown and Tyreek Hill on your team.
Yeah, Breece Young, I was gonna say. Breece Hall came through for me for 18. If I would have started Tua, I would be at like 160, but it was enough, so I'll take it. And that's
Meeting on
that.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So, Maurice, how about you talk about next week's matchups, and then we'll play ourselves out.
All right, so Commanders, you play the Patriots. You got a shot there, Lucas?
They should win this
Man,
game.
I hope so. Because if we lose to the Patriots,
They
I
should
might
win
this.
just you might not hear from me again until the draft. I'm just going to say that. I might just start editing these
100.
videos.
I
I might
respect
not say nothing. Because we should beat the Patriots. We
Yeah, you
should.
should.
We
Lucas,
should.
real quick, Lucas, can you see what we predicted for that game?
Yeah, sure.
And while I do that, I'll just talk about the other two games. Giants versus Raiders.
If
Both of
Giants
you-
don't beat the Raiders, I'm in the same boat.
Well, you guys are a minus. You guys are a 2.5 under to lose the game.
Yes, but fun fact, my all-pro linebacker Super Bowl champion, Antonio Pierce, just took over that team.
Ah,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah,
Congratulations to
I'm
him.
very happy about that. I will say this: we
Yeah.
all picked the Commanders to win that game against the Patriots. Yet again, don't feel good about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And,
feel good about anything anymore.
No.
and we got another rivalry game. This is the big one. Cowboys
Yes,
week for
sir.
Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles versus
Let's
Cowboys
go!
at the link.
Excited.
Earl.
I'm so excited.
Earl, what you got to say, man?
Ready for game time.
You all want me to tell you how we got this thing predicted out, or do you want me to save it?
No, do it. Don't do it.
Don't tell
Okay.
you.
No.
I
For the
will say
listeners-
that I won't say who chose who, but we went 50-50 on this split.
Well, I could spoil this part because we do remember Earl had the Cowboys going, what, 12-0?
It felt like it. No, I think like 12-3 or
Wait.
4-13,
No.
14-3, I think.
14-3, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Earl had the Cowboys winning like the first 8 games in a row.
Okay, hang on. Let me check.
Am I right
Because
or
I
wrong?
have the
I did.
notes.
I did.
He did.
Eagles really screwed all that up. Really messed that up.
Earl
with my
had the
honest opinion.
Cowboy. You know what? I'm not gonna tell you guys because I don't want to ruin it.
Stay tuned, folks.
But just know that
Go ahead,
it's-
say it. I got something for y'all if you do.
Earl
Go
had
ahead.
the Cowboys not losing until week 13.
All right.
Week
I
13.
love the confidence. I love the confidence from Earl, though. But
Irrational confidence, absolutely.
this is going to be a big game for the Eagles because we go into the bye after this one.
Big
This
game
is
for us too.
It's a big game for the division. It's a big game for the conference because while the Niners are falling off a little bit, the Cowboys are right there. Eagles have the best record in the league at 7-1, but a loss puts us right there with the Cowboys, and it's even playing field going forward in NFC East. So
And the Cowboys need a signature win, and if they can pull this off, that's definitely a signature win for you guys. Because you guys haven't had one yet. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna keep a buck with you. This Eagles game is a must-win game. The next 5 games after that are against NFC teams, in which all are must-win games, especially going into potential playoffs. So must-win games.
And for
I
us,
love it.
and for us after our bye, we got a tough schedule ahead after our bye as well.
I'm excited for this one, guys. I can't wait.
We gotta go through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Who does
go
Mal
through it.
play?
I play the Raiders. Who cares?
Raiders.
I mean, you guys maybe. It depends on who's quarterbacking. I feel a lot better if it was
Fired
Tyrod
their
Taylor.
whole coaching staff, and we're still underdogs.
Oh, Aiden
season's been a
O'Connell got to
disaster.
start for the Raiders.
I
Yeah,
mean,
This
look,
they
season's been
benched
a disaster.
Garoppolo.
I don't
but
hear
me out.
anything.
Hear me out. The new head coach is none other
Then Antonio Pierce.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if you're gonna turn things around with any former player becoming a coach, it's gonna be for Antonio Pierce.
I don't even care anymore.
I believe you. That's the thing. I believe you. You don't
I
care.
don't even care anymore.
You just want that first
Lucas.
overall pick for Caleb Williams. That's what you care about.
I just want it to be over.
Now, it's gonna be a couple years before it's over because you guys need to build up that time.
I know. It's so sad.
No irrational confidence this summer, okay, guys? We're gonna be
Yeah.
realists this summer.
Yes,
Which
we
is
now
Tell me
learn.
what?
We're gonna be
You wanna bet?
realists.
Realist?
Yep.
Okay.
realist.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
We're gonna be realist, okay? Because
Okay.
right now
Hold you
I'm
to it.
feeling real about my team. And
About mine
on that
too.
note, Maurice, how about you play us out?
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify. Make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at 13_rings podcast. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, have a good night.